Danielle, are you ready to fight some Nazis?
Nick, I'm always ready. I was born ready.
To fight the Nazi forces?
Yes.
Keep your gun
to fight him,
as long as you can.
kill him, take him on.
Then you might be interested in a game called Wolfenstein: The Old Blood, which is a standalone, like, pseudo expansion, I guess you'd call it, to last year's Wolfenstein: The New Order.
Ah, yes, that surprisingly, shockingly awesome game that kind of came out of nowhere.
I felt the same way about it. So, did you play much of New Order?
I did. Well, I didn't play the entire thing, which I'm a little sad about, but I did spend a pretty significant chunk of time with it, and I was very pleasantly surprised. Like, I think everyone was with it.
It sounds like we had about the same experience with it. So, not unlike New Order before it, this game is a sort of pseudo prequel to New Order, and it seems I'm only what, like an hour and a half in, but based on my time with it, it seems to kind of expand on some of the stuff that I loved about New Order and the stuff it sounds like you love too. So there is a non-negligible amount of narrative here.
Okay.
The scene that we're about to go into here is one of the ones that stood out to me most. You and a buddy are trying to infiltrate the Castle Wolfenstein, the titular Wolfenstein castle. And so we are disguised as Nazi soldiers with some forged paperwork trying to break in here, and I really like the way this scene goes down. We'll let it play out.
It's very tense.
Yeah. Waiting for my turn to go ahead and go through the
little turnstile there. It's like Disneyland, but
it is.
Not
Nazi
at all.
Disneyland, which, based on some of the things I've heard about Walt Disney. Anyways.
Yeah. Oh, this guy.
That dog is not like us.
Careta.
Die Papiere bitte.
Oh, papers, please.
Love
That was a joke.
Warten Sie.
Uh-oh.
Aus Frankfurt. Sind Sie Frankfurt?
Keep in mind, Blazkowicz sucks at German.
Ein hot dog.
Yep. They like the joke. They like the joke a lot.
Blasco's laughing a little. Everyone's having
He's a funny guy.
True.
Like those stupid Americans.
Wundern, wenn wir an der Macht sind.
Yeah, buddy.
Weiter.
Dog's still not crazy about us, but that to me is so emblematic of the stuff that works surprisingly well about the last Wolfenstein, and it's got this very like post-Inglourious Bastards vibe of like it's so clearly inspired by that, and like even the awkward, tense laughing in that scene is right out of that diner scene in Inglourious.
Reckon I had to say something.
Yeah, no, it's good.
That was Rudy Yeager.
And from there, like it sort of turns into what feels roughly akin to your standard Wolfenstein game. You'll see here in a second. You're sort of moving through trying to storm this castle, and all the mechanics. I mean, I was actually playing through a little bit of the New Order to prep for this, like earlier this month, and I had forgotten like what I kind of love. There's a little. I think that's a Skyrim joke right there.
I think it is too. Yep.
There's also
right
people have pointed out there's a drink machine early in the first chapter that has a Nuka-Cola.
Oh, excellent,
so
excellent.
They're going full Bethesda.
They're giving a little bit
jokes.
there. Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, like I remember really feeling like the shooting in this game was solid. The leaning mechanics always stood out to me as being really fun and kind of something you don't see in console shooters much, where you can like hold down L1 and essentially lean in any direction over cover. It felt good to do, and there's a lot of same goofy super violence, same popping of heads. It's the core mechanics here are exactly what you saw in New Order.
Awesome. Yeah, it always struck me with New Order, and it seems like with this as well, an awesome and interesting balance of like actually really nuanced, adult, not adult as in adult entertainment, but mature entertainment, mature sort of take on characters and subject lines and storylines, and also like a solid, fun run and gun kind of shooter. Like
totally.
I kind of dig that balance. You don't always see kind of both in one game.
For sure. Especially like you wouldn't expect it to be in Wolfenstein either, especially for them to succeed with it, which is even the more surprising part. But this seems to mostly do that, and it's very. By the way, there is a perk system just like there was in New Order, so you'll see like they've got kind of maybe they've lessened the restrictions, but like for example, I ran around this first area just picking up health and overcharging because like in the first game you kind of just run around hitting square over and over, picking up things all day every day. So I got a little like regen bonus. It's a sort of, I don't know, it follows kind of in the wake of games, I think, like what was like Blood Dragon almost, Far
Oh,
Cry
sure,
Blood Dragon,
sure,
where
yeah.
they've taken it, they've made it a sort of small standalone, infamous, what was it, First Light?
Yes.
That's
yes,
another
yes.
kind of example, because this is, I should say, like a standalone product. It's a...
So you don't need New Order to
No,
get this game.
it's
okay.
$20 and you can just download it with or without New Order. Although it's a whopping it's something like
36 gigs or
Yeah,
some crazy amount.
it's enormous.
There's a lot there.
But yeah, I've really enjoyed my time with it so far. It's also interesting, and you'll see this here in a little bit too. The way that it is reflective of, I think, Machine Games past. You might remember the developers of this game are also the developers of a few. God, what was it? Hold on.
Really good Starbreeze games.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, like Riddick and
Totally.
The Darkness, games
Yeah.
like that.
And the Riddick influence, I feel like, maybe it's just me, but is really heavily felt here. I mean, even in New Order, there was those sequences where you're kind of stripped of your weapons and you go into a prison camp, and it's all dialogue, all talking to the right people at the right time, kind of like wheeling and dealing. Maybe to a lesser extent than it was in Riddick, but it's still there. And even in this sort of short, bite-sized, downloadable product, you see shades of that. Absolutely.
That's awesome. I really enjoy that sort of stuff as a palate cleanser and as something that really builds up the world and the fiction, things like that.
It's it adds a lot, and it's kind of a nice change of pace in a game that would, in anyone else's hands, just be 12 hours of shooting.
Sure.
This chapter actually, like, this was everything you saw before. This was actually kind of like pre-title sequence. The sequence
cool,
is kind of like
okay.
a late title card thing, and then you wake up in this prison. Yeah, you get kidnapped pretty quickly, right at the beginning of the game. And
Blaskowitz.
this is where I started getting real heavy. Ugh, yeah.
Oh man, there's a lot of gross things
some
going on here.
sort of swarm of
Come here,
bugs.
Wesley.
But yeah, just I immediately got to this. I was like, oh, okay, Riddick, like immediate Riddick vibes.
Sure.
So you kind of gotta find your way out of this situation. And they find some neat ways to do it. You kind of try to climb on some Batman stuff here. That pipe is a different color, so you know it's animated. Okay.
Oh, poor BJ here.
Yeah.
Not having a good day.
No, but it's a blessing and a curse, because this becomes what will end up being your sole weapon for about the next, like, 45 minutes
Oh, wow.
of the game. Yeah. Which is an interesting idea that I think is maybe executed to mixed success.
Okay.
But it's... I don't know, I kind of like the way that they attempt to strip it down and make it into a stealth game. And the pipe stuff is pretty neat. You'll see what you can do with this pipe, besides combining it into a one-handed weapon. I mean, the whole... One of the weird, surprising things of New Order was the fact that, like, almost any weapon could be dual-wielded up to and including the knives, and in this game, the pipe works the same way. You can kind of screw it into a one-handed weapon, but you also use it for this climbing mechanic, where you are basically holding both triggers and letting go of one to let go. Not totally unlike what happened in Tomb Raider.
Sure.
And from there, you see these kind of super soldier dudes who are tethered.
A little bit of Bioshock going on here.
A little bit, yeah. Definite, like, Big Daddy vibes from the way some of this plays out. But I kind of love the idea of an enemy who's tethered to the... And I kind of screw this up immediately. Who's tethered to the roof here.
That is pretty great. He's like a bus in San Francisco.
Yeah. It's kind of cool because it is exactly like Muni here in the city. But it's also... I've died twice in this video already. It sort of speaks to an unspoken thing in most of these shooters where enemies pretty much are tied to a path anyway, regardless of whether or not they show you it.
Yeah, it's kind of a clever little nod there.
Yeah. And it's also a cool way to marry this idea of, like, this alternate history thing where the Nazis were incredibly powerful but are still somewhat hamstrung by the technology of the era. Like, obviously this is all futuristic, steampunky stuff, but the fact that their weapons are powerful but not magical is really important.
And it's really cool too, actually. It's I don't know, I've always liked this approach to sort of the future tech or the retro future tech.
Yeah, aesthetically, I've always loved what New Order kind of did. The way that they have this grounded but still sci-fi-ish version of the Nazis. And so you sort of see the pattern here, which is you enter a room, there's a big, overpowered dude you have no way of fighting back against, and you can turn him off with these switches. And it almost becomes like a series of short puzzles where you have to time it right, or I guess it's more force of stealth than anything else.
Sure.
but you gotta kind of time it. Hold down that switch for a while. I think that dude might have... No, he didn't spot me. All right, here we go.
Nice.
But you can lift their giant machine guns off them, try to stealth... Nope.
Oh, he saw you. But you're using his Big Daddy gun against him here, so
and you kinda
it's not all bad.
You gotta aim for... You gotta detach him, and then he unexpectedly
his little
explodes. And
surprise blast here.
reap the benefits of his armor, which immediately had me thinking, no, you cannot strip him from guys you assassinated, unfortunately.
Oh. Well.
But yeah, this is jumping forward just a little bit, and we're not going to get too far into it because I've only played a little bit now, so I'm not interested in spoiling it for anyone.
Of course.
But this is very much some walking around in Riddick type stuff, where you are sort of meeting these prisoner characters. I don't know what it is about machine games and their fascination with prisons.
A lot of prisons in their games, that's for sure.
And this little downloadable thing is absolutely
Tell
no
me
exception.
about the secret. What does Helga know?
What does Helga know?
That's what we're going to find out. Maybe not from this guy, but we will find it out
This
eventually.
guy likes her hands.
He does.
Oh, he's a big fan.
Yeah, well, they're very well modeled hands. Like,
Yes,
Sorry,
they're
old
beautiful
man.
hands.
understandably.
You mistake me
Great
for
wrist.
someone else.
Oh,
Eine Sekunde lang.
I hope it's dead to you, buddy.
Yep, whatever he's talking about.
Sorry, friendo.
And this is just a cute little touch. You end up propping open a lot of doors with the pipe, which also happens to be your only weapon. So how you get that back is you hit a quick sprint and grab it on your way through.
Perfect.
Until you
Just like BJ would do.
Exactly.
You know?
WWBJD. It's very elegant.
I mean, that's kind of how I go about my life.
Yes.
You know,
Oh,
every
man.
situation, I'm like, yeah, what would BJ do?
So that's why you're constantly uttering like vaguely poetic things under your breath about your surroundings.
Often. Yep.
I love how, by the way, the
often.
duality of like BJ apparently being like kind of a dumb meathead in conversation, but then his internal monologue is like this very articulate, like almost Max Payne-y
It's so
melodrama.
true. Yeah, he always had some, somebody's been in here a long time.
Looks like- yeah.
Yeah, a long time there.
Just these little nuggets of environmental storytelling and stuff that they
It's really
achieve.
good.
Like I didn't show it in this video, but there's a early segment where you're kind of walking around the entryway to this sort of castle, and like we mentioned the drink machines, but there's posters everywhere for like the train
Excellent.
stations. There's just the amount of detail they pour into these environments is staggering, and I also think it's a pretty good shooter too.
And that's really great.
It is.
I really do love when games kind of combine different sensibilities like that. It makes me very happy for the future of games.
Yeah, yeah, me too. And this is like, I don't know. It is just a machine games title through and through. I like the blend of storytelling and gameplay. I think this stealth segment is a little forced, but
Sure.
it ends quickly enough. I was able to get back to shooting in like one sitting a couple of times. So yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to see this through. I've already played most of New Order. Oh, geez,
Whoa,
having a little stab
melee
off.
time, yeah. Definitely a stab off.
I don't know where this knife came. Maybe I yanked the knife off of the Elite. I don't know.
Oh, potentially.
But yeah, this is what a New Order, or sorry, I guess the Old Blood looks like, and it's something I plan on sticking with, and it hasn't put me off of it yet. Based on my early time with it, it's a fun, compact. I don't know, man. Sometimes I just feel like what I want out of video games is more of these like 4-hour-long micro
Absolutely.
experiences. It's just so much more manageable. It's more bite-sized. There's a big robot dog coming.
It's also all killer, no filler, which
Yeah.
is really, I think, the problem with games sometimes that are kind of too long. I
For
love
sure.
when something is a compact version of only the good bits
Totally.
that would have otherwise been kind of in between some filler.
I am very much team short games and team cheap games, and like if this trend of $20 bite-sized versions of games I wouldn't otherwise play continues, I'm all for it. I'd still have that what was it, the Fast and the Furious version of Forza Horizon 2 on my hard drive that I plan on playing because
Sometimes that's the best version to have.
that's what I hear. So yeah, this is the Old Blood, and thank you for watching.
Thanks.